Welcome, everyone. My name is Xiomara Rodriguez, and I'm the Communications Director for Discover Puerto Rico. Thank you for joining our industry update today. In this webinar, Discover Puerto Rico's executive leadership team will walk you through the latest updates, strategies, and trends in research, marketing, and sales. After the presentation, we will have time for a Q&A. Please feel free to send your questions throughout the presentation. You may do so by using the Q&A feature, which is the bubble labeled Q&A at the bottom of your screen. Para nuestros amigos que están utilizando el servicio de subtítulos en español, pueden activar los mismos en la parte de abajo de su pantalla presionando la burbuja que dice Show Captions. During today's industry update, you'll hear from our CEO, Brett Dean, Marketing Research Manager, Cecilia Rodriguez, Chief Marketing Officer, Leah Chandler, Chief Sales Officer, Ed Carey. And now to get things started, I'll leave you with Discover Puerto Rico CEO, Mr. Brett Dean.
Buenos días y saludos from your DMO, Discover Puerto Rico. We appreciate you taking time to join us today, and we are very pleased to share an overview of our plans, actions, strategies, and current market dynamics as together we work to grow tourism activity throughout our island. As we approach the end of 2023, it's clear that our island's tourism industry continues to set records and lead both the U.S. mainland and the Caribbean region in key tourism metrics in terms of visitor demand, lodging yields, tourism tax collections, and leisure hospitality employment. The three best years of Puerto Rico tourism have been 2021, 22, 2023. Truth be told, I don't know of another destination in the U.S. or Caribbean that has achieved this historic accomplishment. And we're all sharing in this amazing achievement, both the businesses that welcome, host, and serve our visitors, and the rest of us who support your mission. But I can say with absolute certainty, the team at your DMO, Discover Puerto Rico, is very proud to be a part of this historic milestone, but we're not content with this being our mountaintop. Instead, we're looking to the future to find ways to expand our reach, increase our impact, and write the next chapter of our success together. On that point, I could not be more pleased with the progress that we're making in elevating Puerto Rico's tourism brand to the highest level ever measured. The Live Boricua brand positioning and its sister campaign, Make Your Meeting Boricua, are inspiring audiences throughout the U.S. and beyond. We've seen incredible increases in our primary brand health measures, and today, Cecilia Rodriguez, our market research manager, will share forward-looking data from airline bookings that demonstrates the success we're having in attracting visitors both inside and outside of our traditional origin markets. This, combined with the record-setting growth in recent months, is further evidence that our brand strategy is working very, very well. And by the way, we're delighted to welcome to our team another bright, innovative research leader, Larissa Morales, who brings some very valuable perspective having worked on island as well as for the Disney Corporation. Credible, meaningful research and strategic, insightful analysis have always been the cornerstone of our marketing and sales efforts from day one, and this will only get better with a dynamic research duo of Larissa and Cecilia leading this important function forward. So as we consider the opportunities that exist in 2024 and beyond to grow tourism throughout our island, we know that what got us here won't get us to the next level. Our team continues to build upon core messaging that remains relevant and important, such as emphasizing the many advantages Puerto Rico offers U.S. travelers, especially those travelers who don't have a passport or are experiencing unprecedented delays in getting their passport renewed. But we've never been a status quo organization. So today, Leah Chandler, our Chief Marketing Officer, will share some of the new tactics and strategies that we're pursuing. And with the cruise industry recovering and international travel growing, we're successfully positioning our island to grow in both of those spaces while doubling down on core markets and emerging markets with targeted, high-impact promotion and publicity designed to elevate our success and performance, which will grow your bottom line. Along those same lines, our sales and destination experience teams, led by our Chief Sales Officer, Ed Carey, have performed marvelously in the face of many challenges. Today, the booking pace is strong, the pipeline is full, and our conversion rate continues to outpace our industry peers and competitors. Ed will share with you a recap of recent activities and a look ahead at what we're doing to drive both MICE and leisure sales to even greater record levels. And while we're very proud of what we've accomplished at Discover Puerto Rico, tourism is a team sport, and nothing we do can ultimately succeed if we don't work very closely with you and other partners throughout each of our 78 municipalities. Whether we're discussing how to promote a specific community or training small businesses and entrepreneurs on digital marketing through our La Idea program, or mentoring students at local universities who aspire to a career in Puerto Rico tourism, or leading an innovative familiarization tour showcasing our island's rich, vibrant culture. We know that we must be as good at telling our local island about your industry and your DMO as we are telling the word about Puerto Rico. Our local communications and engagement team, led by Edward Zayas, has held an impressive number of public and industry forums in recent months, engaging local stakeholders all throughout Puerto Rico. And while often these discussions held and the issues discussed are very specific to a local community or a region, one theme is consistent in every meeting that we attend. Tourism is leading the economic resurgence of Puerto Rico, and our partners throughout our island are optimistic about our future. So as we wrap up 2023, our 5th full year at Discover Puerto Rico, I couldn't be more proud of our team's accomplishments, nor more excited about what lies ahead. No doubt there will be some challenges in our future, but just as in the past, we'll get through those together. And you can rest assured, the team at your DMO remains committed, focused, and passionate about working with you and for you to ensure that the best days of our tourism industry lie before us and not behind us. And now it's my pleasure to turn the presentation over to our Market Research Manager, Cecilia Rodriguez.
Thanks, Brad. Happy to be back with all of you today. Now, as we approach the end of this year, we're really pleased to share the latest industry results, including monthly trends, recent room tax collection estimates. We're going to do a preview of the booking pace for the remainder of this year's 4th quarter. We will also have data on the books for the 1st quarter of 2024, including lodging and flight information, and we will offer a preview of what we can expect from the cruise industry through February. Now, after 3 years of experiencing travel demand disruptions, either due to COVID-related reasons or natural weather impacts at different times of the year, and leaving behind the peak of the Atlantic storm season, all signs point to a normal 2023 travel year. Now, in looking at year-to-date results through September, total lodging demand remains 10% ahead of last year. Hotel demand captured by STR is up 7.5%, while rentals continue a healthy growth rate of 14.6% for the year, according to AirDNA. Now, since May, hotel demand has remained below 60% of total lodging demand, while rentals peaked at 46% of total demand back in July. Now, when we further analyze monthly demand trends and how they're performing compared to the same month last year, we can clearly see that rental demand, which is the blue line, has grown between 7 to 26% every month this year, and is forecasted to continue at a positive pace for the remainder of the year. In part, growth in rental demand can be tied to the 20% growth in supply we have seen in the last 12 months, which means that there are many more listings available for travelers to choose from. The hotel booking pace, which is tracked by TravelClick, shows strong growth for the beginning of the year, followed by flat or slight growth during the shoulder season or that beginning of the 2nd quarter, and then improvement during the summer months. As we navigate the end of the year, we can see year-over-year October hotel demand is expected to decrease by 11-12%. As we have discussed in the past few months, part of this decrease is due to a drop in hotel leisure demand, but a significant decrease in groups on the books, especially compared to a very strong October of 2022 that benefited from multiple citywide groups in the San Juan area. Now, November and December are expected to continue a positive trend for the remainder of the year. Now, lodging rates have remained flat in the rental market, and among hotels, even across periods of lower demand, rates have remained elevated, currently 6% above last year through September. Now, this in turn continues to result in record revenues. In looking at revenue pacing, we can confidently say record here record high visitor spending will continue through this year. The year-to-date lodging revenue is up 14% from a year ago. And it wasn't too long ago that we were celebrating reaching that $1 billion mark in lodging revenues. So to see that we are already inching away at 1.5 billion with one full quarter to go is quite a feat. Now, as hotels have been able to maintain rates at record levels, they do account for 62% of the total lodging revenues we track to date. Now, further confirming these great results are the latest room tax estimates provided by the Puerto Rico Tourism Company. Year-to-date room taxes collected through September have reached $104 million, surpassing last year's records collections to date by 14 million or 15.5%. While all accommodation types show year-over-year growth, including 72 million collected from hotels, which is an increase of 14%. The rental platform lodging segment is currently outpacing all segments. Year-to-date lodging taxes collected from platforms total $23 million, which is an increase of 24% compared to 2022. Now, it is a little bit too early to see the lodging data for October, so we will provide results in the upcoming weeks to confirm if the higher rental demand compensated for the weaker hotel demand we have discussed. However, we do have arrival data from Aristar and are happy to report that October welcomed more than 427,000 passengers, the best October since 2015. In addition, total passenger arrivals surpassed 5 million. Again, 3 more months to go, including December, which we know it draws more visitors during the holiday season. Now, the travel booking pace for the remainder of the year and the first quarter of 2024 reflects very positive trends. Hotels are currently pacing 2% ahead of last year for the fourth quarter, but 35% ahead of the same time last year for the first quarter of 2024. This is thanks in part to a strong group pace in March. The rental market has experienced significant growth, with 34% increase in room nights for Q4, with strong December reservations in particular, and is pacing 68% above from last year for Q1. Now, we do use Forward Keys, which is a platform that tracks airline ticketing pace from flights not originating in Puerto Rico. And according to the latest ticketing data, the fourth quarter of the year is pacing ahead with 25% more tickets than at the same time last year. And the first quarter is ahead by 53%, which really confirms strong demand from the visitor market for our standard travel high season, and definitely helps filling the ever-expanding lodging supply on the island. Now, tracking the flight tickets origin cities, we can see that the fourth quarter, visitors are flying in from mostly our core markets, with the top markets being New York, Boston, which has expanded service, Orlando, Washington, D.C., and Atlanta. Tampa has the highest year-over-year growth for Q4, with an increase of over 100% in tracked air tickets. Now, meanwhile, for the first quarter of the year, cities that have typical cold weather are certainly booking ahead of pace, with the top cities with flights confirmed arriving from New York and Boston, but also Chicago, Detroit, and Minneapolis. Results also show a strong pace for the Toronto market, pacing 97% ahead of last year. Now, part of that increase in international visitors will be due to an increased visitation from the cruise market. According to industry partner Tourism Economics, up to 700,000 cruise visitors can be expected to arrive in San Juan between November and February. Now, this is based on the cruise capacity of the 249 ship port days that are arriving. Now, we are sharing with the industry the calendar with the number of estimated visitors per day. Again, this is based on the ship's capacities that are scheduled. We're sharing it not only for San Juan, but also including the calendar for Vieques and Culebra, who will also receive visits from cruise ships. Note that the darkest colors on the calendar will be the busiest days in the ports. Now, Visitors to the island do impact many other industries across. Now, it includes restaurants, attractions, and services, and we are working with vendors to compile visitor spending data on these goods and services, and we look forward to sharing them with the industry very soon. In the meantime, I will leave you with Chief Marketing Officer Leah Chandler for the latest updates on the marketing space.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Cecilia. As we finalize and develop creative assets for our paid media, our no passport required messaging is being refreshed across all mediums for legibility and distinction, as accessibility to the island continues to be a priority when we're promoting the destination. These updates include modifying the passport stamp to be more visually prominent on all of our print and digital executions by increasing the size and opacity of the no passport stamp and including additional language on our static executions. We're also in the process of developing what we call a wrapper campaign for cruise intenders and loyalists that encourages interest in the destination and longer lengths of stay for those who are already arriving in Puerto Rico for a cruise. Our goal with this effort is to inspire those who are already visiting Puerto Rico via a cruise to return for a standalone vacation. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to be shooting new assets that will capture the island's holiday season by highlighting our rich culture, authenticity, and warm weather to position Puerto Rico as the perfect holiday destination. And on the international front, we have several key international markets that continue to remain a focus for the DMO, including Colombia, Canada, Spain, and the UK. Discover Puerto Rico headed to London for Brand USA Travel Week in October. This is a 4-day annual event that brings together key players in the US and the European travel industry to discuss trends, challenges, innovations, and the opportunity to drive future visitation to the US. Brad represented us at the CMO Summit, along with over 40 CEOs who were representing destinations across the US. Over the course of the week, Discover Puerto Rico held 24 international media meetings with publications such as The Independent and National Geographic, among other outlets from UK, Spain, and Italy. We also had 36 trade meetings with buyers from 6 European markets to discuss their growing demand for Puerto Rico and how we can connect them with regions in the island where they currently don't have product. And following the success of Through the Eyes of Boricuas, phase 2 of our Condé Nast partnership sees the launch of the Hero video on Condé Nast Traveler and Vogue platforms, reaching 43.6 million consumers across channels in our key international markets. Featuring local talent from the island, the Hero video, which was shot on the island in July, showcases Puerto Rico's inclusivity, diversity, and equity. Furthermore, the campaign will be supported on an editorial basis following British Vogue's editorial team experiencing the island firsthand in October of 2023. As a result, British Vogue is going to be featuring a guide to Puerto Rico in the Spring 24 travel special that will reach almost 800,000 consumers. And in partnership with Forbes Colombia, this month, Discover Puerto Rico is hosting Forbes Colombia editor and a Colombian chef on island to experience our rich culinary flavors and cuisine to showcase in the Colombian market. We've curated an itinerary for the chef and editor to discover the island's flavors, visiting key culinary hotspots throughout the week. Puerto Rico will feature in 3 articles in Forbes Colombia across print and digital platforms to showcase what they're calling the Flavors Collection. And in December, a VIP Puerto Rican event will be hosted in Medellin to unveil the Flavor Collection with 45 VIP trade and media guests in attendance. The entire partnership is going to also be supported by digital ads and social media to really maximize our engagement and our reach. And in Canada, Toronto's The Morning Show will host a local chef in partnership with Discover Puerto Rico, in which the hosts will interview him about Puerto Rico's culinary secrets while cooking dishes that are inspired by flavors of the island. Aired to 13 million visitors, The Morning Show is one of Canada's most widely watched breakfast shows, providing really strong reach and engagement for the island. Hosts will revisit Chef Vivoni on November 9th, live from the island, to continue the conversation and showcase the farm, which inspired his culinary career. And from a paid media standpoint, on traditional media, Q3 was considered a maintenance period ahead of what is typically and historically a really hard push in Q4 and Q1 for high season. Combined, we generated over 40 million impressions in our core and art markets in Q3. Video completion rates remained really strong across large devices, as well as full episode players on mobile, desktop, and tablets. Denver was added on September 1st to align with our new direct flight offerings, and performance so far has been very, very strong. In digital media, we saw significant increases in impressions and generated revenue, outpacing the budget increase. And here's just a quick snapshot of the current investments in paid media during Q4. You'll notice we've expanded our markets and included new partners like Pandora, YouTube, and Hulu. And our website continues to perform very, very strongly with increases in users and page views. An important metric is partner referrals. And in Q3, we nearly reached 200,000, which reflects the quality of the traffic that's being brought to the website via paid and organic channels. In terms of new content, we've built and published 2 new content hubs, one that's dedicated to attracting and educating cruisers, and another that is highlighting our no passport, no problem messaging. And in response to consumer trends, we've also published some new editorial pieces on accessible travel, as well as multi-generational travel. In Q3, Discover Puerto Rico's leisure social media channel saw a 195% increase in net new fans compared to last year. And although results show an increased engagement rate by user reach, the decreased budget for our in-house paid social affected the total engagements that were garnered. Our website sessions referred from organic social increased by 168%, while also increasing by 158% year over year from our paid social. We've produced 28 new short form videos that were created using a variety of content verticals such as cocktail culture, gastronomy, and beaches. Highlighting the activations executed in Q3, July's content was dedicated to sober travelers. Using the hashtag Dry July, the team recommended juice bars, zero-proof cocktails, and frappe establishments across the island. The team also implemented a new engagement tactic. We were asking followers what makes them happy in advance of using those answers in August for hashtag Happiness Happens Month content. And in addition, Facebook Live broadcasts were resumed with a live stream from Isla Verde Beach. In terms of earned media over the past month, we've actively pitched and secured top national media coverage in renowned publications that includes Thrillist, Travel Pulse, BuzzFeed, Time Out Kids, Skift, and many, many more. These media stories really bring to life the island's value proposition surrounding no passport, and it also features the island's vibrant culture. During September and October, Discover Puerto Rico participated in several top-tier events and focused on discussions surrounding values-based marketing, many of our strategic pillars, and also the MICE space. At SATW, Brad was the keynote speaker, providing insights on the importance of values-based marketing and how Discover Puerto Rico harnesses that to drive tourism. Dalisa Zeta, our digital media director, also spoke on a title panel, Debunking Myths to Develop New Caribbean Story Ideas for media who were attending that event. And the key themes that surrounded that included local hidden gems and facts to guide travelers' visits, inviting them to live Boricua. Discover Puerto Rico also coordinated a number of pre-FAMs and post-FAMs for media who attended that event. Discover Puerto Rico also partnered with IGLTA to support its largest ever convention in its 40-year history. They had more than 700 attendees from 36 countries and territories. And this relationship and this event really solidified a strategic pillar for the DMO, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Discover Puerto Rico hosted 34 key media who were introduced to the island and our local partners, and we had amazing coverage on IGLTA and Puerto Rico that resulted in 202 total traditional media articles, garnering over 458 million impressions so far. Additionally, social media mentions drove almost 200,000 impressions, with attendees sharing content of the conference and their experiences across the island throughout the month. Overall, these articles and the social media posts shared by hosted media highlighted Puerto Rico as the most LGBTQ plus friendly destination in the Caribbean. And of course, we were at IMEX again this year. Discover Puerto Rico participated at IMEX. It's the largest travel show in the U.S. for global meetings, events, and incentive travel, where Discover Puerto Rico had a premier presence for MICE. Ed presented vibrant meetings and events experiences related to Puerto Rico's continued success, a press conference with 13 key media in attendance, folks like Meetings Today and Smart Meetings, and several others. And Discover Puerto Rico welcomed Denver media to learn more about the new United route at a one-of-a-kind event that had lots of special Puerto Rican touches hosted in Denver. Discover Puerto Rico had 14 travel media and influencers attend. They were comprised of local publications and bloggers, including folks from Elevation Outdoors, Sports Travel Magazine, and freelancers who covered for the Gazette, Lonely Planet, the Denver Post, and many others. Developing these curated events in our key travel markets allows the DMO to enhance Puerto Rico's value propositions, Live Boricua campaign, of course, and the new No Passport, No Problem initiative. Now, this new initiative is launching in November across all of our social platforms, with the goal to enhance the island as the destination of choice if you don't want a passport delay, validating, of course, one of our biggest value propositions. Discover Puerto Rico is also creating a dedicated online hub to house content around this topic that's going to include guides and key travel information for those visitors. In addition, this initiative was the perfect opportunity to work with one of our travel airline partners, Frontier. As part of that partnership, we've collaborated on a trip giveaway that further enhances that U.S. connectivity and no passport messages. We'll also be working with a lot of key influencers to amplify this new program. We've also recently launched a partnership with Avelo Airlines to execute another one-of-a-kind sweepstakes to offer winners a chance to visit Puerto Rico. And we finalized an exciting satellite media tour, or an SMT, with Brian Kelly. You probably know him. He's the founder of The Points Guy, who's a leading voice in the travel industry to bring to life, again, those key value propositions for the island. This SMT is set to deliver on that key messaging. He's going to talk about holiday travel and also the no passport required messaging later this month. And we're continuing the momentum in the new year to bring high caliber national media to experience unique fam trips to Puerto Rico. These curated itineraries have been very, very specially and specifically designed by Discover Puerto Rico's communications team and our destination experiences team. Below are just some of the fams that are already in progress. In January, media is going to enjoy a selection of the island's wellness attractions, lodging, and gastronomy for self-care stories. In February is another opportunity for media attending this niche fam to embrace an itinerary that's full of beautiful spots on the island to share with friends, from historic sites to beaches. And on the family fun fam, media will be able to visit Puerto Rico's key beach locations, bursting with fun for the entire family. They're going to be surfing on the West Coast and also touring the rainforest. We also have a one-of-a-kind fam in which media have been invited to experience off-the-beaten-path activities for bucket list adventures in Puerto Rico. The media will be visiting a selection of our partners at iconic establishments. And Puerto Rico is once again working with the Puerto Rico Convention District Authority to highlight the island with the 3rd annual countdown to ring in the new year. We've secured key media who will cover the event and participate in a relevant fam tour to gain more insider knowledge on the island and to celebrate the longest holiday season of the year only in Puerto Rico. So messaging will continue to highlight the island's strong music, culture, and our high-tech events capabilities as well. And with that, I'm happy to turn the presentation over to our Chief Sales Officer, Ed Carey.
Great. Thanks a lot, Leah. And good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I wanted to take a few moments to share with you the most recent October results from the North Star Travel Pulse survey, and that's on the state of the MICE industry in general. As you heard from Cecilia, and according to several industry forecasts, we're seeing a bit of a softening in the overall leisure demand. However, the outlook for the meetings and events industry looks promising, and optimism is very high. Planners are expecting to produce more meetings in 2024, and they're expecting increased attendance numbers at those meetings. So as you can see in this chart, the number of planners who expect between 91 and 110% live attendance compared to pre-pandemic levels has grown substantially. However, these attendance figures vary based on the type of event. The smaller internal meetings, client advisory board meetings, incentive programs will have the highest gains, but even the larger conferences and trade show events are expected to grow as that value of face-to-face interaction becomes more evident once again. It is particularly encouraging to see that buyers and suppliers are bridging the communication gap and working together more effectively. The satisfaction levels that buyers are experiencing with all of us as suppliers has increased substantially from October of last year to October of 2023, with DMOs leading the way, followed by DMCs, convention centers, hotels, and other service providers. And many planners are reporting that while budget remains a concern, their respective organizations are increasing those budgets to compensate for rising costs. And I think one clear indicator of the event industry's optimism to move past the pandemic-imposed restrictions is the desire to source international meetings. Nearly half of the planners in this survey intend to meet outside of the US mainland. And while Europe is gathering steam, the Caribbean is following closely behind. 43% of the polled planners intend to source the Caribbean in 2024. Obviously there's a concern over the current state of world affairs, and planners and attendees are also aware that COVID is still with us. But after a pause in meeting demand in the late summer, the volume has continued to increase in September and this past October. I think that enthusiasm for global events was also evident at the IMEX America event that Leah mentioned earlier. IMEX enjoyed a record-breaking year in attendance with 15,000 participants and 360 exhibitors, many of whom came from outside the US. Once again, Puerto Rico had a very strong showing with the Discover Puerto Rico team, along with our partners, working together to cover close to 800 one-on-one appointments. In Puerto Rico, we saw that slowdown in the summer months that I mentioned earlier. However, October lead volume was 29% higher than October last year, and we expect that trend to continue. So fiscal year to date, July to now, we're down roughly 3% in new event leads and room nights, but ahead by 5% in events booked and 2% in booked room nights. The site inspection activity has been very robust with a strong within the first 4 months of this fiscal year. We've completed 41 site inspections versus 29 in 2022. And that's roughly a 41% increase. So when you combine that with more site inspections with a strong active pipeline of over 670,000 rooms, we believe this puts us in an excellent position to continue developing a strong group base in 2024 and beyond. And we're gearing up for a busy 2024 with on-island events, with a full series of impactful fam trips already on the books and more being planned as we speak. We're going to stay focused on the third parties, the incentive houses, travel advisors, and consortia that have produced for Puerto Rico in the past and can absolutely bring more and new business to the island. And 2024 is also shaping up to be a banner year in Puerto Rico for many of the most sought-after industry events. With this lineup of events, Puerto Rico will be one of the most talked-about destinations in the industry in 2024. And on the leisure side, our pace in the global distribution system, which is used by travel advisors, is essentially flat to last year. And that's driven mostly by the anomaly of an unusually strong October of 2022 that Cecilia referred to earlier. However, in the out months, and that's the months from November through June of 2024, we're currently 27% ahead of the same time last year. And of course, in addition to the dozens of educational events and leisure fam trips, the leisure team is gearing up for a full schedule of some of the most important and impactful trade show events in the industry for the first half of the calendar year. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Xiomara.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you to our executive leadership team for providing such great information and insight. We will now move into the Q&A section, and we want to answer as many questions as we can in the time that we have left. I also want to remind you that this webinar is being recorded, and later this week you will receive a link to the recording so you can replay it at your convenience and share it with a colleague who was not able to join today. If you have questions or need any additional information after the webinar, please send us a message at the email address that you see on the screen. We will be happy to assist you. At this time, I don't see any questions on the chat box. So unless there's any other questions, we will wrap it up for today. I see we have one question. It's a message for our communications, local communications team. Ricardo can address that offline. If we don't have any other questions, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today, and we'll see you on the next one.